Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with the 6th video in our Dark Souls 3 Platinum Trophy Guide. Now, in the last video we had cleared through the catacombs of Carthus, we had unlocked the secret little demon ruins bonfire down below, and we finally have made our way to Irithyll on the other side of the dungeon. Now when you first enter onto this bridge, if you want to turn around, and then you'll see this little dog enemy here that you can take advantage of to make a much easier fight. He will eventually just accept his death and just lay here. Might as well put him out of his misery and you'll get a ring for it. Pontiff's right eye. That's one trick that I really wish I would have known. Now another thing to do is ember up on the bridge. And there will be a very specific summon sign that you will interact with here. It's a very specific one, but nevertheless, it will appear. I'll grab this bonfire first while I'm at it. Now, normally, if you haven't gone and defeated the Deacons of the Deep, then you won't be able to enter this gate. It'll say that you need a doll of sorts to access. So we're just going to grab this bonfire. Now, resting at the bonfire and then coming back onto the bridge will not reset the dog. It just won't. But the main thing is that there is supposed to be an interactive summon sign here that you will touch. It is very specific as it will stand out. As you can see, it is right here. Now, whenever you do this, whatever covenant you are a part of, you will get a medal for. So, trying to get one of the covenants that require you to grind a lot is definitely quite helpful in doing so. Now, we're getting summoned to help out Cirrus of the Sunless Realm, as she is fighting a invader, as you'll see. Creighton the Wanderer. Now remember, we're trying to make sure that she does not die. He's a very tough enemy, but you can give Cirrus time to heal herself. He also can heal himself, so be wary of that. He also can throw the Lloyd's talismans to stop people from healing. He is quite a formidable opponent and can do some serious damage. Now, upon doing so, he will actually invade you later on. Making sure that you have his main aggro is definitely a must, as it'll help Cirrus stay alive. And we'll be done. So yeah, so once you do this, you will get a medal.
Thank you for your kind assistance. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
Now with this the case, you will return back to your world. Well, normally you are supposed to receive a covenant item, but oh well, you live and learn. But from here, we're actually going to continue that quest line by going back to Firelink Shrine, as it will result in us getting a ring that is actually very helpful. So yeah. Alright, as you can see here, she'll appear.
That dark, my sworn
She will give you the Blessed Mailbreaker and the Silver
if you
Cat ring.
require help on your travels, bless.
So now you will be able to summon her for help and guidance. Now also in the meantime, I also decided to upgrade my swords to +5. Gonna remove that. We only have 2 more covenants that we can join, and we'll continue from the main area. Now, to be 100% honest, I absolutely hate the first half of Irithyll, as there's so much fighting and stuff to do. So what I like to do for just the sake of things is I'm just going to run through. Now, I will probably die a couple times. That is to be expected. There are certain places where you can heal safely. But if you would like to come through this area, by all means you can. Just do be careful. These last 2 enemies are specifically going to be the most annoying. But what you're supposed to do is run here and come over here to the left. For the most part, you won't be followed up here normally, but there is the rare instances that you do. But we'll get our next bonfire, and we'll also have a familiar face, Anri. She will give you the ring, and if you keep talking to her, she will give you the Quiet Resolve emote, gesture, and we can continue on from there. You'll get a free Proof of Concord kept, which is probably the most annoying covenant item to farm or grind for, in my opinion, of course. But from here, we can now head down to the next area. If you want to grab something related to this covenant, by all means you can get the roster of knights. Now while we're here in this little cemetery-esque area, if we swing a right, follow this around, we'll be able to interact with this guy here, just getting rid of him for the sake of making my life easier. We can grab this Undead Bone Charm. You will be invaded by Creighton. He's pretty easy. As long as you just stay on him. Like so. And that's why Sellsword Twin Blades are best. In doing so, you will get his item, his actual axe, which is actually a really good axe to get if you're just wanting to have a alternative weapon. Now from here, there's nothing really major to grab. There are a couple things we will grab, of course, but still. You'll just want to come over here to the right. Excuse me. Want to ignore most of these enemies, as they can easily overtake you and deal a lot of damage. They're not too terribly tough, it's just the fact that having multiple of them in a close area is not good for one's health. Now, before we continue down into the water, if we head back this way, I think it's this first one. Yep. Come on. Find this crystal lizard with some twinkling titanite. And we can head back. I recommend going ahead and dealing with these guys in the little side hallways, just so they do not sneak up behind you like so, as they can be quite annoying. I do believe that is it. We'll take out this spellcaster-esque one, grab this blood gem, which we'll need for infusions, and we can now be on our merry little way. If you want to drop down in here, you can. Be careful of these enemies. They aren't hard, but still. Grab another Ring of Sacrifice. While we're here, we'll use our one OP strategy of maneuvering through specific areas. Now, while we're here, we're actually going to be coming down this way to the right, as there will be a miracle to grab. Now, do note there will be a few more of those insect creatures. Now, if you didn't defeat the dog on the bridge up there, he will actually reappear down here, so just be wary of that. Now, if we come here over to our right, we will find the corpse that has the miracle on it. Great heal. This will also aggro these enemies. Do note though that these enemies are actually really good to farm if you have a way of doing so. I would definitely recommend using this next area to farm souls if you are struggling for some. But we're going to grab our next bonfire, which would be up here. I know I should use my dagger, but I'm not. Don't know why. And then we'll be able to reset. Alright, so from here we're going to head back the way we came, and then head into the sewers. Sounds fun, right? Right? Also, don't forget to equip the Silver Cat Ring while we're here. This will save you more time than having to always switch and swap to Spook. While you're in here, I definitely recommend using this as a way of farming souls. Like I said, if you are struggling, each one of these with a Silver Serpent Ring +1 gives almost a little under 900 souls, 825 to be exact, and you can get quite a bit of souls from doing this, which is really handy, as there's, I think, roughly, let's see, 1, 2, 3. There's at least a decent amount of them, like 6 to 9, I believe. And that's quite a bit of XP. Now, while we're over here, we will come back over here and grab some more ashes. Not that I would recommend it, of course, but still. And while we're up in this nice little hallway-esque area, we will we will find a friend who's enjoying a nice cozy fire. He will give you the Emit Force miracle and a Siegbrow. And you will toast. He's a good friend. Make sure that you exhaust all of his dialogue till he's sleeping again. And we can now be on our way. This next area, I do say proceed with caution, as these enemies are quite tough. but they are not without their merits. As you'll see, I'm fat rolling because of my ring. So we're just going to deal with that now. Alright, now that I'm not panicked anymore, we can deal with these Silver Knights. You can farm these guys if you're trying to get some large Titanite shards. So do be wary of that. Okay, there's no more. Now if you swing around and come up these stairs, there'll be 2 more that you can fight for now. One of them is just ignoring me completely. Being brave he is. But we can also... That was kind of weird. I mean, I'll take it. We'll make sure that we heal up this time. And then we'll go in for the kill. There we go. Get a lot of large Titanite from fighting the Silver Knights, so that's really good. And we don't really have any kind of item discovery. All 3 of these chests are safe to open. You'll get the Leo ring. I believe one of them is just empty. You'll get Smo's hammer. And then the last one right here on the left has nothing, I believe. Oh no, it does. It has a Divine Blessing. Divine Blessings are really good as they will heal you for all of your HP and cure you of any status ailments or effects, which is pretty cool. Now, this next area, like the first half of Irithyll, is quite annoying to me, as how I like to do this area is slow and steady or fast and reckless. It's basically the only 2 ways that you could do this. But the best method I recommend is dealing with these 2 dogs first. Make sure you're also far enough away that the spellcaster does not hit you, and it should be easy. So from here, we're now going to try and focus on getting through. There's going to be 2 enemies specifically who are trying to spellcast at you almost certainly all the time. And then there's 2 more dogs. Do be careful as they do inflict freezing. But once that is said and done, you'll have a much easier time. Around this corner, you'll find another dog. I recommend taking care of this one before you do anything else in this area. You can sneak back over here for some safety. There we go. Another large Titanite shard, which is really nice for us, is that'll allow us to fully upgrade our swords. Now if you take this elevator, you'll actually come to your first shortcut back to the church where Anri is, as just across the street from where we open that door is where she's at. And then the next one will be soon. So when you get to this area, if you actually come over here to the right, you'll discover that there's a secret little area down here. We can grab another large Titanite shard and climb up a ladder. The reason why I recommend doing this is bypassing all the enemies to our right is quite annoying, as there's a lot of them and they can actually land on you and deal damage to you. Once again, another room of these. So yeah, just be careful. Now we are at Probably the actual main half of the game, or I'd say 60% of the base game that is required. Ugh, these guys hurt. But yeah, so as you'll see, you have 2 summons. If you haven't already gotten the gesture from Blackhand Gothard, here's another time for you to do that. You can also summon the Londo Pale Shade again. And, if I do recall, Anri is right over here. Yep. Now, there isn't anything of note over here on the left. But, what we're going to do is actually unlock a secret little passage number 2. So yeah, opening this door basically is a secret area, or a shortcut, I should say. Which I will explain, or show you why. But we can come here, and then what we can do is actually go like so. Hopefully not get our cakes rinsed. Ooh. But basically we can fight this guy. But as you'll see, we're at the opening gate from where we went to the church right here for Anri, and that's where we opened up the little secret area. Now, if we actually come over here, I believe, where is it? It's somewhere. This is very specific. Secret little door ledge that you can find. More large titanite though. That's always nice. It's somewhere, I remember. Oh wait, it is up here. My apologies. So up here on our right, get a lightning gem, and then right here, we can then find this secret little magic clutch ring. We're also going to be grabbing that item right there while we're here, just because it's another ring that we'll need to grab, and it's just much more convenient to grab it while we're here. As you can see. And now what we're going to do is we're going to reset, and I'm going to meet you back at before the boss. Alright, so we are here at the boss fog. As you can see, we're summoning Anri, and we're only going to be summoning Anri. As for every single person who is here to fight the actual boss, the game gets harder. Boss has more HP or has more defenses. So for the sake of things, we're going to have Best Girl. Pontiff Sullivan is definitely a specific skill check. As you can see, as I'm instantly just destroyed from those 2 specific hits. But he is not a terrible boss. He's a very aggro-y boss, but not too terrible. I'm going to try and give that a second go. Alright, so we're going to try this again, except we're going to have 2 phantoms this time. And I'm actually going to hit my rolls. Or not. Man, this guy is just being mean. Ooh, that's not fun. Do note after a certain point though, he will go into his second phase where he will have a clone of sorts. Which will mimic his attacks in a sense. Which you can easily defeat. And you can also take advantage of whenever he does that. And that's Pontiff Sullivan. If you want to try doing any of these bosses solo, you can. Now, I highly recommend that if you are playing online at this point in time, that you switch offline. If you do not want to be constantly getting invaded and killed a lot, this next area will ensure that you will die a lot. So don't take any souls if you're afraid of that. So we're going to head back to Firelink and spend our souls and then come right back. Alright, so now that we can continue on in non-PvP mode to ensure the least amount of salt, if we come here to the main fighting arena that most people actually like to use for PvP, we can grab these two lizards and be on our merry little way. Now, in this next area, we're actually going to grab 2 covenants, which are the last 2 that we need, and some stuff. So if you follow the path I take, it'll make your life a little bit easier, as we'll also grab some stuff while we're here. So down here in this little side area, if we come to the back, there'll be a ring we can grab. You can ignore most of these enemies, except for this back one, if you're really trying to. But if we actually stay down here, come all the way over here to the back, run up these stairs, whoops, and unlock a very specific shortcut. Okay, that's just cheesing. Grab this little elevator. We can come up around over here. Grab this crystal lizard. Give us a simple gem, which is one of the rare infusions that you will probably never see anybody actually use in a weapon, but you will have to do it for a trophy anyways. So yay. Now if we come up and over, there will be a chest back here. It is a mimic, so we're going to try and see if we can get a symbol of Avarice while we're here. This is probably one of the more easier symbols to farm, as it's so close to a bonfire that you can easily cheese this. Do note that you can just punch him and he'll go back to normal. And then you can reset. If you don't get one, that by all means you can easily just go buy Undead Hunter Charms from Patches. But now we can just continue on our path of destruction. So as you'll see, you'll have these Aldridge Deacons of the Deep Devourer guys who love trying to spam you with fireballs all the time, which is always so much fun. But they go down like cheap paper, so they're not too tough. While you're doing this, you might have a chance to get some human dregs, which are needed for the next covenant we're joining. So just keep that in mind. And plus, this is just extra souls along the way, while also getting pelted with fireballs. So much fun, right? Now you'll also be skipping a couple of enemies while you're here. These two specific Dark Souls 2 themed boys who like using dual-wield weapons just like I do. They are quite formidable, but they aren't as aggressive as you would expect them to be. As you can see, we easily got both of them. You'll get both of their weapons. Or one of their weapons, I guess, because we actually picked up the other one. But we can now achieve what is really fun. And that is the pain zone. One of two. In the same area. Haha. So if we hit this invisible wall, we can slide down this ridiculously long ladder that leads to a place. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, okay. So you can bait one of these in. There we go. There we go. Do be careful though, as these guys are very interesting for sure. If they grab you, it is death. Most guaranteed. So I'm going to cut back to me defeating these little bastards, and then we're going to join our next covenant. Sound fun? Alright, now, I feel like that was 1,000 times easier than what I remember those guys being. But, once again, when you kill those, they will not respawn, so thank God. You will get a free human dreg, which is one of the 10 that you need for getting the platinum trophy, which is really nice. So now if we come over here to this boy, Archdeacon McDonagall, we can, or McDonald, I'm sorry, you can join the Covenant, and you'll have the Aldridge Faithful. Now from here we can actually head back up, which I'm just going to skip to me reaching the top of the ladder, so see you when that happens. Alright, so now that we are at the top of the ladders, we can continue on our way. Now the best method I recommend of going through this next area is coming here to this back right, and then following the path that I specifically take, as it'll result in the least amount of deaths. Grab these Easterner ashes, and then we could make our way up. Now if you want to run through this area, by all means you can. It's probably the recommended method. But if we come down here, have a familiar area. Can ignore the giant arrow in my ass. Or, sorry, in my shoulder. You won't be followed, of course, so that's a hoorah. But we can now take the grandest elevator ever made and ride it on up. And we'll be able to get our next little bonfire. And as you'll see, we have made it to Anor Londo. Now, before we continue, there's specifically two things that we're going to do before we go forward. First is if we actually go down, we'll be able to grab our second and final base game covenant. So if we come here, we can walk along this invisible path. I don't know how anybody ever figured this out, but congrats. And we can drop down and grab this this bonfire. Now, to join this covenant, you have to also be doing Sirius's questline.
Name thyself. I am what beck.
And you'll be allowed to join, because you need to be able to do the gesture
Very
to
well,
join. Just not
Thou
notice.
journeyed far. If to become a then I.
Just now notice the
Now
tail.
don't
But from here, if we actually warp back to Anor Londo, so if we now go back and then go back down, we can continue and finally unlock the final piece that we need to achieve the secret ending of Dark Souls 3. And that is called the Dark Lord ending. The downside is at the cost of what it is. So if we'll go back down. We can go through this secret little hidden area. Now, this area is quite familiar, but you'll notice that there's nobody here. Now, in order to activate it, we have to go back to Firelink Shrine and talk to Uria. Can't forget that. Alright, so in Firelink, if we come down to the left, talk to Uria.
Speak honorable.
Of course, you'll buy some stuff eventually from her.
Oh, good hollow. Orbeck of Vinheim is a cause of he proclaimeth himself for disciple. Our Lord, and knowest thou she of the for what Lord? Ah, good tiding. The time is ripe. The girl awaits thee in the hidden, so thou mayst a true.
Once Uria says that, you can then head back to that secret area. She'll warn you that Orbeck is not to be trusted, but as of now, we trust him because he sells us sorceries. So, if you actually come over here and learn at least 15 sorceries from the guy, which will cost quite a bit of souls, but you should have enough if you have done what I have done. If you want to, you can just buy all that are available right now, just because, and then if you talk to him so many times, he will eventually give you a ring, and then the silent ally gesture and another ring.
With this, it's a I don't end in the fight. Promise to.
So that is one thing that we might forget at some point. So now we can head back to Anor Londo and then head back down to the secret little area. Don't forget to burn your undead bone shards while you can to upgrade your Estus so it heals you even more. Alright, now that we are here, you'll notice if it's actually correct because there'll be this pilgrim here.
Well,
And she will tell you that your spouse is ready and hand you a item. Now if we head down this corridor, we will say, with a heavy heart, goodbye to Anri for the rest of this playthrough. But upon doing so, we will attain Dark Sigils, as you'll see, as we need plenty of them to achieve the true Dark Lord ending. Also, while we're here on the back right, there will be a chest containing the reversal ring. And I do believe that there is, yeah, there isn't anything else. Now if we head back, the pilgrim that was waiting for us will have died, sadly, but will give us something that is only attainable by doing this. That is the Chameleon Spell. So now we can head back to the top of Anor Londo. Alright, so now that we are here in Anor Londo, we can finally fight the next boss. So this will be a 2-in-1 kind of deal, similar to the first episode. We would be trying to fight two bosses. We're trying to cheese this Silver Knight down so we can backstab him and easily deal with him. And just like that, we were able to kill the second one too. Now if we come over here to the right, we can fight a third Silver Knight. Completely optional, of course. But note that he is way tougher than the other two. Whew. But we'll be able to grab some more souls. Do believe that there's nothing else over here. Yep. Can't go in those doors, sadly they're locked. But if we come over here to the left, I believe if we come down here, there will be no? Oh well. Thought there was something that we could grab over there. But sadly we will discover a dear old friend who has some coal for us. But we can now head into Anor Londo. Now this next area is a little tricky. But it's not too terrible. Get a second proof of Concord kept, which is really nice to know. Coming down here, we've got two more guys to deal with. Now if you actually hop down behind, there'll be a chest right here, which will have a Estus Flask shard for you. And we can then also come down over here and try and open up the shortcut door, which I'll just skip to doing. Alright, so now that we've defeated Big Boy, we can carry on. Now we're just gonna rush straight into our main boss. Or not. These guys are just going to be super annoying. But now we have Aldridge, Devourer of Gods. He has a very specific set of attacks that are quite understandable, I should say. But then they get harder in phase 2 once he gains his fire. As you can see here, he gains his fire pretty quickly. You can damage him while he's teleporting, so be wary of that. This is one attack that you can't avoid, as it'll just chase you around, which I think is a little ridiculous, but eventually it will stop. Do be careful though, as when he does teleport, it can hurt you. Once again, this bow attack is going to be the death of me. And that's death. Yay! But that's Aldridge, Devourer of the Gods. He's a pretty annoying boss because he can just spam ridiculous attacks at you. So we're just going to skip to when we are defeating him. But that was Aldridge, Devourer of the Gods. Not too terrible once you know his patterns, of course. Here we can get our next bonfire. And if we go up here, we make it in time. Yay. We can come up here, find a very useful ring that will naturally heal you over time. So if you're struggling with maintaining Estus, you can equip this ring and save yourself some trouble. But this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I will see you all in the next one.